Hello viewers. Now, last time we were together I unveiled my new whip, my Tesla Model S 100D, my Extinction Rebellion zero emissions electric vehicle, and a lot of you I know were very disappointed by that, but I did say at the time that I'd also ordered another new car, and it's here. Or more properly, it's here, and I'm ready to unveil it for you. Can you guess what it is yet? Let's find out. Any ideas? Obviously I'm going to spin this out a bit for the sake of drama. Are you any good at identifying cars from the shape of the windscreen? Okay, that's enough. It is a Toyota Mirai hydrogen fuel cell electric vehicle. And again, some of you are going to be very disappointed, I know, because you can think, oh, it's another EV. Very different though, and I'll explain the difference. If you know all this, you can fast forward by about, I don't know, 20 seconds or so. The Tesla is a battery electric vehicle. It has a big version of the battery from your smartphone in it, and you recharge it from a charger. This is still an electric car. It's still driven by an electric motor, but instead of a battery, it has a hydrogen fuel cell. It has a tank into which you pump pressurized hydrogen from a pump, like a petrol or diesel car, and that hydrogen is combined with oxygen from the air in the fuel cell to generate electricity. It generates electricity on demand as you press the pedal for the electric motor and drives the car. To drive, they are both electric cars. You wouldn't know the difference, but the philosophy is very different. And now we'll cut and I'll reposition somewhere else while I think of what to say next. Now, this is going to cause, I suspect, quite a bit of debate in the comments section, but that's okay. That's exactly why I'm doing this. In fact, I'm using these two cars because I want to have a bit of a debate with myself. And the first objection to hydrogen is going to be that it has to be extracted from something that we already have, like water or even a fossil fuel, oil for example. And that process of extraction, cracking as it's called, is very energy intensive. So people will say, well, the efficiency of a hydrogen car overall is not very good because you lose so much energy between your energy resource, this is an electric car, remember, the energy resource, wind or water power or an oil-fired power station or whatever, and converting it into hydrogen that you then put in the car. The thing about the Tesla is it's a battery-operated car, it recharges, that's all very familiar. Our lives are full of rechargeable things. It uses an infrastructure that already exists, i.e. the national grid. You can drive the Tesla for the best part of 300 miles. If you get range anxiety, you know that if all else is lost, you can simply go and park it in a garage like this or outside your house and plug it into a domestic socket. It will take about 2 days to recharge, but it will recharge. To refuel the hydrogen fuel cell Toyota Mirai, you have to go to a hydrogen filling station. It's very quick. It takes about 2.5 minutes to fill the car up. You get a range almost as good as the one in the Tesla, but here is the big but. There are only 8 hydrogen filling stations in the whole of the UK at present. So if you run out, you are completely stuffed. So driving the Mirai is an exercise in trepidation and extreme brinksmanship. But that's sort of what makes it exciting. And the reason I think the fuel cell has a chance compared with the much more popular battery electric vehicle is that if you look at the whole energy picture, if you think about the idea of actually making the UK carbon neutral, even carbon negative, then hydrogen starts to make sense. Because if you have an offshore wind farm, like the one we have in Wales, or just off Wales, let's be honest, you can actually crack the hydrogen at that source and then transport it around as a fuel in pressurized containers. It becomes, in effect, a very, very convenient type of battery. And you don't just put the hydrogen in your car, you can put the hydrogen in your central heating system. You can put it into the gas network, you can use it in fuel cells which are inherently light compared with batteries, in boats, in trains, in aeroplanes. That is a big one. In the immediate future though, you have a car that seems to me to be an answer to the problem of emissions from cars, and a car that is part of a much bigger solution, which is about completely removing the emissions from the world. This is a bit more of a gamble. Which one is going to prove nicer to use, better to use, more convenient to use in the real world over the next few years? Well, I don't know. That's exactly why I've got one of each, because I'm in a rather fortunate position. I can take part in this experiment and I can let you know. In the meantime, would you like to have a look inside? To be honest, this is nothing more than a perfectly agreeable mid-sized Toyota saloon. And you will recognise in here a lot of things from the hated Toyota Prius. Look at the gear stick. You'll see in a minute when I turn the dashboard on that it's largely the same. But to be honest, I don't mind the Toyota Prius. I think it's quite a clever car. A lot of the technology that is in this car, such as the regenerative braking system, the quality of the electric motors and so on, is there as a result of work done on the Prius. And work on the Prius started in, can you guess, 1968. That's how far ahead Toyota were thinking. If I turn it on, the other thing about Prius is people always say, oh, what do you want a Prius for? You look like an Uber driver. Yeah, you look like someone who depends on their car for their livelihood. Not a very good recommendation, is it? Anyway, that's just a small rant. I'm going to turn it on and you will see that I didn't put my foot on the brake pedal, but you will see the dashboard will illuminate. You'll get some little clunks and words, and you will hear the radio because I wasn't thinking. Now, I'll just turn the brightness up on the dashboard. If you look at the display up here, that's very obviously like the Toyota Prius, but you get slightly different information up there. To start with, look at that display. Average fuel economy, that is expressed in kilograms per 100 kilometers. That's kilograms of hydrogen, because that's how you measure it. This car takes 5 kilograms of hydrogen. If I can get that to 1 kilogram per 100 kilometers, this car will do 300 miles. There's lots of other stuff you can look at. You've got a fuel consumption record there. That's the thing that tells you how well you're doing. You score points out of 100. It's like a sort of simple video game. That's very similar to the Prius's. It shows you how the energy is flowing from the wheels to the car or from the car to the wheels. There is a small battery in it as well. It's a sort of header tank, if you like. It's also somewhere for the energy created by regenerative braking to go, because obviously that can't be turned back into hydrogen. What else have we got? The power meter, and we've got an eco diary. I can look back through my driving habits and see how well I was doing on particular days. It's all very, very exciting. And then if I hold my finger down and move over to the other side, on that little display, I can have the battery state, and I can have various power and economy meters that show me if I'm regenerating or using too much power and being profligate, and all the rest of it. Then the rest of it is quite conventional. It's got speed, the fuel tank, which is actually the hydrogen fuel tank, trip meters, blah, blah, blah. On here is the sat-nav and the telephone and everything you'd expect, and an indication of how many times Lucy Brown rings me up. No, I don't want to do that. What? Lucy Brown 6, Lucy Brown 12. Anyway, overall, what this is, I'm going to turn it off, because I am wasting a tiny bit of hydrogen doing this. What this is actually is a perfectly agreeable mid-sized Toyota saloon with a rather nice ride actually. I really like it. And you don't drive along in it thinking, oh my God, it's hydrogen fuel cell. Well, I do because I'm a bit weird, but most people wouldn't. They would just drive it like a car. It's a push and go electric car, or as we said in the other episode, a car. Shall I go and sit on the bonnet for some pithy concluding remarks? Now look, I don't know what the future of the car is going to be. I'm fairly convinced that they will be powered by electric motors in one way or another, but I don't know what we're actually going to do about the management and storage of electricity. It could be that we are just around the corner from dilithium crystals or antimatter or electric cars powered by Jeremy Clarkson's opinions on the modern world, in which case they will run for millions and millions of miles without being refueled. But let's assume we're not, and that the two choices are the BEV, the battery electric vehicle, or the HFC EV, the hydrogen fuel cell electric vehicle. Which one is going to prove nicer to use and which one is going to have the best future? It's not the Harley-Davidson motorcycle, which is outside. I'm fairly confident of that. It's one of these two cars or their descendants. I'm not declaring a fealty to either of them. I'm taking part in an experiment. The point of the experiment is to see what happens. And in a future edition, when I'm back from filming the Grand Tour special, we'll do a proper twin test of Tesla versus Mirai. And I can point out to you the advantages, disadvantages, good qualities, bad qualities of both of them. But until then, I hope that was useful. See you then. Thank you for watching. Drive safely. As William Woolard once said, good night.
Call to actions?
Like, subscribe, comment. You know how it goes. I don't need to tell them. You're not idiots, are you? You are idiots. Oh. Like, subscribe, comment. Thank you. There are so few Mirai drivers. I mean, I've refueled this thing twice so far, and I've met the same bloke on both occasions. He's called Brian. He's my mate now.